my literary luminaries, and welcome back to another Tuesday Talks. Today's Tuesday Talks topic is, what are some book worlds that you would like to visit? And it's funny, because as I said in an earlier video, I make lists of what I'm going to talk about before I actually make the video, usually so that I don't sound like a complete idiot when I'm talking to you guys. And I actually had to look up one of the series that I mentioned to make sure I knew which one I was talking about. And it took me a minute to remember why I put it there. This is the way my brain works. But, number one on my little list should not surprise anyone, but it is The World of the Pelted from M.C.A. Hogarth. Who would have guessed that something of Micah's would end up on the list? But regardless, I've always loved the Pelted series. The more I read about any, and I say series though, the large chunks of different series all take place in the Pelted universe. I've always loved it. It's fascinating. It's got all sorts of interesting stuff going on. Interstellar space, Earth is a mess, humans have screwed stuff up. I'm shocked. I don't know. I don't know what it is about it specifically that I'd want to see, but I think I'd have so much fun visiting. And this is, my love of the Eldritch aside, because of course the Eldritch don't like anybody, so it's not like I'm going to meet many of them unless I go track down Jaheir and Visita. Which I'd be fine doing, because I could have them look at me. I'm a mess. But I love them. And just, if you haven't read Micah's stuff yet, please go read something first. The Earthrise, the book I mentioned a while ago, that's in the Pelted series. It's great fun. I'm going to stop now because y'all are tired of hearing me talk about her. The next one is actually a book that I only just recently read, and there's a review for it over on my blog from a couple weeks ago, probably. I think it's last month, but it's been within 2017. The book is called Terminal Regression. It's really an interesting world. And it's funny because, of course, it's always you're reading these books about, these problem worlds and utopias and, trucks driving by your window, or dystopias, rather. And you sit there and it's like, I want to be in that world. It's like, why? Well, it's not necessarily that I want to be in the world that it starts as. I don't really want to be in Divergent's world, though I like the concept of it. And that's kind of where I go with a lot of these. But the world of Terminal Regression appears to, in many ways, emulate, in pieces, the real world. But you're much more segregated by what you do, but not necessarily by class, but by what your talent is, what your gift is, that kind of thing. And then there's this train, and you get chosen to be on the train. You get your ticket. You don't really pick. You just get your ticket. And then you take the train to Terminal B. Or you just take the train away. You end up going to Terminal B, but I don't think you know that at the time. And then you're never seen again from the people that you live. So essentially, you're dead. And that's what everyone assumes. You take the train and you're dead. It's done. All done. But it's not. And there's a whole nother world beyond Terminal B, and it's even more screwed up. And it's a fascinating world. And especially by the end of it, and I think there's going to be more in this series, I think. If there's not, I really hope there's going to be more in this series. But there's so much more that could be done with the world and dealing with the two sides. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, obviously, but I don't know, I like the concept of sort of being delineated by talent, and that shows up again in the other one that I bring up, and I actually made a little note that I think that's really what I like in terms of worlds. It's not necessarily ideal, but I like the concept of it, because this is the series I had to look up, and it's the Selection series by Kiera Cass. Now, as you can see, particularly by the way I'm dressed at the moment, but as much as you've seen me in general, I'm not exactly girly, whole gender wonky masculine presenting. Yeah. the whole fancy ball gown stuff is not so much for me. And that's basically what the selection series is about. It's about, the prince needs a bride, so we play The Bachelor, and we bring in a whole bunch of princesses, not actually princesses, a whole bunch of people, and then you play the game, and one of them gets the rose at the end, and she gets to be the princess. And that whole portion of it, I really have no interest in whatsoever. But the world of the selection series is fascinating. Again, because the different castes, as it were, are delineated by what they do. Now, it does start to look a little bit sort of Hunger Games, where the districts closest to the capital have more and better and stuff, and then the further you get out, you start turning into, District 13, which doesn't exist in theory. And there's a little bit of that. The lower your group, the worse off you are. And it's not even that I was like, I want to be in District 1. I want to be in, the top class. I really don't care. I'm just sort of interested by the world of it. Again, I'm not saying that I want to live in these worlds, but these are the worlds that I'd want to visit. It's so interesting. So fascinating. And that's what I noticed is, and as I said, it's the concept of talents and how they delineate us in society that I'm really sort of drawn to in terms of these things. So this video is way longer than usual, but that's what I think. Those are some worlds that I'd like to visit. Let me know down in the comments below or on Twitter at KRIAndFrey. What are some worlds that you'd like to visit and why? If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It is very much appreciated and very much helps. And hey, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, why not subscribe? YouTube will very kindly notify you anytime that I put up a new video, specifically if you hit that little bell icon, which should be every Tuesday and Thursday. But until next time, I shall bid you all adieu, and I will see you all on Thursday for another Top 5 Wednesday. I promise, it says talents. I had no clue why I had the selection series on there for a second. It was really weird. I was like, princess, what? What? Past Ryan confuses me. Go figure.